Hey everyone, Pikamee here, and I'm done playing games. A couple of weeks ago, a game released on current generation consoles and Steam known as Hogwarts Legacy. This game is set in the universe of Harry Potter, a set of young adult novels featuring a British boy who went to a magical school for witches and wizards. Or wouldn't it be wizards and warlocks? Or wizards and wizardesses? Regardless. It was written by a woman by the name of JK Rowling, who needs no introduction as she's the woman who taught an entire generation of children, myself included, how to read. Rowling herself is, well, she made her bones on the franchise and uses a lot of what she earned from it to give back. Unfortunately, she's a mom and her politics lean very far to the left. As such, she has been a vocal advocate against Brexit, for feminism, for mass immigration, and so on and so forth. However, I am not here to condemn her. She's a mom with mom politics. The issue arises when it's revealed that there is one specific issue that she's not fully on board with the far left with, and that is on gender ideology, specifically in regards to transgenderism. Rowling is referred to derogatively as a TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist. While the definition sort of speaks for itself and does kind of reflect what she actually believes, that a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina, some that had not only been self-evident 20 years ago, but was self-evident even to children.
Yeah?
Boys have a penis, girls have vagina.
But are you saying you hate trans people? I hear some people that this video is aimed at screeching in the comments. Despite my usual spiciness on Twitter, in which if you take anything I or anyone else says on Twitter 100% seriously, that's a you problem, Twitter is not real life, the answer is no. I don't give a shit about trans people one way or the other. Leave me alone and you can believe and do whatever you want as long as you stay away from anyone under 21 or anyone who doesn't consent. That's not the point. The point is, because Rowling believes this, it makes her an apostate to the leftist movement, especially among trans activists within the sphere who are already mentally unhinged and looking for any outlet they can to unleash their rabid, unhinged fury onto. Of course, not all trans people are like this, hashtag not all and in full effect, and if I was being generous, I'd say it's not even the majority, but an unsettlingly disproportionate number are, and there is a disturbing lack of personal responsibility, as well as responsibility within the movement itself in play. To make that point clear, when Rowling came out as what they called a TERF, she was met with scorn, derision, hatred, threats, and outright acts of violence. Several actors from the movie adaptations of her books have unpersoned her, the woman that made them as wealthy and famous as they are today, and there have been calls to outright ban copies of Harry Potter, or even a full-on boycott of any of her works. This grimly mirrors the right-wing Southern Baptist religious extremists of the 1990s and early 2000s in America who openly burned copies of her books in effigy because suffer not the wish to live. Now it's the trans radical activists burning these books because of their own religious beliefs, of which Rowling is a heretic. They become the very thing they claim to fought against. Some of them have even sent packets of white powder, possibly anthrax, and various other unpleasantries, some possibly deadly, to the private home of JK Rowling. How did they find out where she lived? The activists also traced down and exposed her home address on social media in an act known as Doxxed. They even organized protest groups to harass her in her private home with threats of violence and complete mob tactics, not unlike the Ku Klux Klan. Despite these threats and acts of absolute thuggery, Rowling has stayed resolute in her beliefs, if anything becoming even more of a TERF as they continue to try and fail to silence her, because the people she's up against don't have the testicular fortitude to do any real damage. You never see these people go after Warner Bros. As they know they wouldn't care. You never see them try to protest or boycott at Universal Parks because they know they'd be removed and arrested. It's all just anonymous threats behind an iPhone screen between games of Overwatch 2. It's weak, pathetic bullying. That's why they picked Hogwarts Legacy as their target, as a leftist bully will have more power within gaming thanks to game journalists being their allies and prominent activist grifters refusing to go away. Hogwarts Legacy was developed by Portkey Games, a studio that, while part of Warner Bros., is basically a small indie team that's only made phone games before this. To make them fail now means very likely Warner Bros. Will have to shut them down, and they will stop at nothing to accomplish this goal. Anyone who gets in their way be damned. And I do mean anyone who gets in their way be damned, as these rabid activists targeted anyone who would advertise, review, or stream the game, even several of their own. They would harass the chat, send death threats, rape threats, slurs, outright try to get the streamer removed, and even dox their home address so their allies can send unpleasant things to their home like dead rats with needles in their chests, homemade explosives, fecal matter, anthrax, and otherwise. And while this hasn't happened, at least to the streamers I'm aware of, they could have also swatted them, as in called a SWAT team to come to their house, which could have led to their death. Doxing is not a funny internet prank, it's a very serious thing. Two streamers that were targeted by this were Silvervale and Pikamee, both VTubers, virtual YouTubers who use animated anime avatars while they stream. It's sort of like what I do, but with way more money, effort, and competency put into it. The bullying of these figures was so bad that Pikamee has been completely missing in action since then, and Silvervale was driven to the point of tears due to the nasty harassment her and her mother received. You heard me right? They went after her mother too, because this was done in the name of the greater good, so no collateral was too unacceptable for these freaks. And even now, after the fact, after Silvervale has taken a stand against them, their responses have been of three varieties. They would acknowledge the harassment, but outright deny the harassment was really their side, instead blaming right-wingers for all of it because there's no way that good people would ever do such a thing, and leftists are all good people, and rightists are all bad people. They would ignore that the harassment even took place and claim that Silvervale and others were making it up, or they would outright say that she deserved it for, quote, not being a good ally, and, quote, trans people are being sent to death camps. To say that any of these reactions is outright disgusting and bordering on the line of psychopathic evil and paranoid delusion would be an understatement the likes of which has never been seen on this earth. They believe they're heroes fighting for a greater cause, champions of social justice, advocates of peace and tolerance like Martin Luther King Jr., ignoring the fact that Dr. King would hate them despite what Carlos Schwinden and his self-titled base communist employee would have you believe. The truth is they are not heroes. They never were. Heroes don't send death threats. Heroes don't try to murder people they disagree with. Heroes don't harass streamers or their relatives into doing what they want. They're soldiers, thugs and bullies even, born to kill and die, pawns in a game played by people levels far higher than they will ever see, and will be willingly sacrificed the instant that they're no longer politically convenient or expedient. Makes them no different from the KKK, Black Lives Matter, the Cochise County Cowboys, the cartel, or any other strong-arm group used by the elites to keep the riffraff in line. And when it's no longer convenient for them to have them around, to the wolves they will go. The truth is, they could have stopped at any point, but they didn't. And here we are in a city of ashes, and here they stand thinking they've saved everyone, that it was justified because they were, quote, in danger of being genocided. Completely oblivious to the fact they lived the freest and most privileged lives ever in history on the planet. And beyond that are afforded additional privileges for their status, even being excused from literal terrorism. There has not been one trans person's lives who's been saved or improved by these people's actions. All they do is serve to make normal people hate them and distrust them even more. They may even prop up some people who may or may not have actually self-terminated, but with every example that's come out, it's been proven that it's either non-existent or unrelated even upon a rudimentary glance. That alone makes the actions of propping up these cases even worse because it's using unrelated deaths to push a political agenda. Using corpses as a soapbox is not heroic. It's even worse when it's revealed that not only was that example a complete hoax, but the one who performed the hoax was also grooming children. And yet they still don't see any connection here that maybe this performative activist lifestyle is the cause, that maybe they're responsible, that maybe they are the real baddies. These people live blank, empty, meaningless lives, and some of them even enjoy tormenting others, but cannot bring themselves to accept it, as accepting it would shatter them to their very core. That is the nature of leftism and those who are addicted to it. I have and will continue to criticize the right because there is always hope they can change and learn to get better. I mean, the evangelicals and neocons are basically a fringe, shrinking minority within their own party, with even less power, influence, and voice now more than ever. But when it comes to things like this from the left, there is no hope. It's down to you or me by your own definitions. As someone once said, it takes a strong man to deny what's in front of him. And when the truth is undeniable, you create your own.
No matter how hard I tried, I never could escape the reality of what happened here. That was my downfall. There, finished. I hope you like it.
What the hell is going on?
Your eyes are opening for the first time. It hurts, doesn't it? Go on. What do you think?
You did this.
No, you did. Your orders killed 47 innocent people. Someone has to pay for your crimes, Walker. Who's it gonna be?
John? Is that you?
You tell me.
I'm done playing games, John.
I assure you, this is no game. It seems that reports of my survival have been greatly exaggerated.
This isn't possible.
Oh, I assure you, it is.
How?
Not how. Why? You were never meant to come here.
We have our orders. Leave the city, radio command from outside the storm wall. They send in the cavalry, we go home.
What happened here was out of my control.
Was it? None of this would have happened if you just stopped. But on you marched. And for what?
We tried to save you.
You're no savior. Your talents lie elsewhere.
This is your fault, goddammit!
Stop right there, Lugo.
He wouldn't listen!
We didn't have a choice!
He turned us into fucking killers!
This isn't my fault.
It takes a strong man to deny what's right in front of him. And if the truth is undeniable, you create your own.
What the hell happened?
I don't know, he just stopped moving.
Walker, snap out of it!
I get it. We have to choose.
The truth, Walker, is that you're here because you wanted to feel like something you're not. A hero.
Lugo!
You left me to die!
I'm here because you can't accept what you've done. It broke you.
Colonel? Colonel, please.
What's going on, Walker?
It's Conrad. He did it. All of it.
You needed someone to blame, so you cast it on me. A dead man. I know the truth is hard to hear, Walker, but it's time. You're all that's left, and we can't live this lie forever. I'm going to count to 5, then I'm pulling the trigger.
You're not real. This is all in my head.
Are you sure? Maybe it's in mine. 1.
No. Everything. All this. It was your fault.
If that's what you believe, then shoot me. 2.
I didn't mean to hurt anybody.
No one ever does, Walker. 3. 4. Is this really what you want, Walker? So be it. 5.
If somehow this message has reached you and it's made you change your mind in any way, don't be too hard on yourself. You can still go home. This has been the Cooper Man, requesting immediate evacuation from the culture war.
Survivors, one too many.
Koopa Man, this is Tracer Queen. Stand by for Katsuvac.